At present, Africa is the most educationally backward of all the world's continents. A few years ago, Tanzania had a generally literate population, much more so than most African countries. But it has never yet had a proportion of its citizens with advanced educational qualifications or skills which is comparable with that of many countries in West or North Africa, to say nothing of such developing countries as Malaysia or South Korea. Knowledge and skills are clearly going to be an ever increasingly important element in the realistic prospects for every country's development, even its chances of defending or regaining its independent sovereignty within an increasingly interdependent world will depend heavily upon its wealth in knowledge, particularly science-based knowledge. The most superficial study of comparative development over recent decades makes unavoidable the conclusion that in the 21st century, knowledge will be of much greater importance in determining the standard of living in a nation than will be its wealth in natural resources or its monetary capital. This conclusion stems from the constant speeding up of processes of scientific change which have been in operation for decades. Many factors combine to account for the rapid economic development of what are sometimes called the newly industrialized countries of China and India, or China and India. But one thing which all have in common is a preceding period of heavy investment in education of all kinds for this institution. I believe that such an increase will be a necessary part of the changes required, but it will not be the only one. Social justice and equity, as well as better health and greatly improved education or international communications, for example, all have their own contribution to make to the creation of a productive and stable society able to hold its own in the world. But even within the educational sector, it is not a foregone conclusion that the balance between primary, secondary, technical and tertiary expenditure should be immediately tilted further towards universities.